Welcome to the Horror Hounds, a Lorehounds podcast. I'm John, manically pursuing failure.
And I'm Elysia, emerging from the fog of vampiric love to discuss Montreal, Season 1, Episode 6 of the Vampire Lestat on AMC+, or Season 3, Episode 6 of Interview with the Vampire.
If you want to get into contact with us, send an email to askdan@thelorehounds.com or head to our Discord server from the link tree in the show notes for real-time conversation.
And if you like what you've heard and want to support us or get ad-free and bonus content, check the same link tree for our Patreon and Supercast subscription options.
All right. So if you want to support us for free, by the way, you can leave us a nice review on our main feed or our dedicated Vampire Lestat feed. Now, we are going right into the episode. We're going to be talking about all spoilers for the episode and anything that's happened in the book that's already happened in the show. So anything like, a certain event happening, a little different in the show, we might pull from the book from there, but we won't spoil future book events. And we may be spoiling some stuff from Mayfair Witches this episode, so maybe watch that. Or if you don't care about it, and debatable whether you should care about it.
I don't know. Can we really spoil it?
Yeah, I don't know.
We might just say Cortland. I think Cortland's your favorite character from that show, right?
He is my favorite character. He's just very complicated, and I like that about him. He's one of the more interesting Mayfairs. But and he gets a name drop this episode, so I was happy about that.
Sure does.
Yep.
That's the crossover I want to see, to be honest. I mean,
yeah, that would be a cool crossover. Yeah. But it would be a weird time to have that crossover just because of events that happened in that show in season 2.
Right. No, it would have to be in the future. But I mean, the Merrick thing actually comes from a book in the vampire side of the series, to be honest. So not technically a crossover I'm going to put out there.
Well, it's an adaptation of a crossover.
Right. I mean, because her last name's Mayfair, but yeah. I wonder if we'll see her on the Mayfair Witches in the future. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if we've seen her because you do meet a lot of the cousins in like a passing moment. Yeah. So I was trying to remember. I could not remember whether or not. But I've also not carefully watched that show, so we may have, and I just don't remember. So, let's get right into it. There is going to be a post-credits Inside the Coffin book spoiler section, but for now, you are safe without the book spoilers. We have some feedback from prior episodes. You want to get right into it?
Yes. So I think the first one actually is someone most familiar to you. Do you want to read that one?
Sure. Yes. Sarah Z. Back again from the Triage Center. Hello again from the former Pit Chief Medical Correspondent. Hello, Sarah. It's lovely to hear from you. I heard a medical question asked on this week's The Vampire Lestat podcast, and yes, I love this show too.
Woohoo!
Parkinson's disease currently has no cure and is primarily treated with medications aimed at controlling symptoms, muscle stiffness, tremors, etc. I did, however, do a quick bit of research on clinical studies being done in the area of Parkinson's and noted a handful of studies looking at monoclonal antibodies and their use in destroying the protein thought to be responsible for the disease. Most of these studies are in phase 1 or 2 of clinical trials at the time. So maybe Dr. Farid is doing his own research with Daniel as the trial subject. It's not impossible.
Very like Dr. Farid, to be honest.
Love listening to your takes on the show and just everything about Interview with the Vampire Lestat, Mayfair Witches can go. All right. We're tossing it out there. Shots fired. Thanks for continuing to be part of my nerd herd. And thank you, Sarah. The new chief vampire medical correspondent, Sarah Z.
Yes. And now, Sarah, how about beheadings? No, I'm just kidding.
What's the longest someone has survived after being beheaded?
Oh. We also heard from Lorax, who said, Elysia grew up in Northeast PA and went to college in Philly, University of the Sciences, which, by the way, is right next to where I went to college, also in University City. I totally missed the Walnut Street sign, but will rewatch because, their Walnut Street sign popped up during episode 4 in the Devil's Minion thing on, when Daniel confronts Armand on the street after the big boss thing. My favorite band from Philly is the Hooters. They opened live in 1989. I spent more time at the clubs in the 80s than studying. I like how the show is trying to capture the feel of a band in the 80s. I so enjoy this podcast and both your takes on everything. Thank you. And I agree, the acting and dialogue is superb, Laroque says. I really like that too, how they are... I mean, because obviously, so the book is set in the 80s and this is set today, but they really managed to grab that 80s vibe and make it work for today, where the songs feel inspired by the 80s, but current, and the vibes as well.
Yeah, there is a whole thing that happened, I want to say like 5 to 10 years ago, where there was this 80s revival wave of artists. And I think the Killers were kind of part of that for a little bit.
Killers is one of my favorite bands, to be honest.
Yeah, they're great. And they did an album a few years ago that was very much 80s revival. I think towards the end of their original run, I don't know if they ever really stopped, but their original wave of popularity, they were getting into more of an 80s vibe too. So it's certainly a thing that's around. It's not like unique to Lestat.
No.
I wonder what we're not hearing, because we're not vampires.
True. They're not for our ears. Speaking of for our ears, it's actually really cool that the members of the band have been more involved than we might realize. We talked about Ryan Kettner, and I think this is what inspired Larox's feedback, talking about Ryan Kettner being from Man Men, and that's the actor who plays Salamander, but he's also in the writing room as a music supervisor on the show, doing all sorts of stuff. Obviously, Daniel Hart is writing pretty much most of the music, almost all the music for this show, and is also in the writer's room this season. And Daniel Hart and Ryan Kettner also, I believe they had writing credits on episodes 4 and 5, respectively, if I remember correctly. And then Sarah Swire, who plays TC, apparently she actually learned the drums for this role. Like, they're like, we need a drummer. We know we want to have this group here. So either Ryan Kettner or Sarah Swire, one of you has to learn the drums. And when they gave them both a chance, they're like, it's Sarah. No, it's definitely Sarah. Yeah, it's her. So she said she's taking a life skill with her out of this. But she also did the backing vocals on a lot of things like Stained Glass Eyes.
Oh, yeah, that's super cool. I'm glad that everybody's getting involved. It sounds like you're right. They're much more involved than we expected them to be.
Yeah, it just seems like whenever you see them, and I love watching interviews of this cast and crew together, because you can just tell how close they all got in this whole process. And it just seems like they had a lot of fun, but also just everyone puts their everything into it. They all care about it on a creative and intellectual level. So it shows, in my opinion.
Nice. Can I ask you, do you think that this show is hitting the cultural zeitgeist now? Because I don't know about you, but on my video feed, there is now a lot of people reciting Akasha's affirmations. As like a modern affirmation. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's so funny.
I do think that there seems to be a lot of lively conversation about the show. So I do think that it's hitting more mainstream than... Yeah, I mean, obviously we hope for that because we want it to continue. And as we've discussed previously, it certainly looks like it will, at least for season 4. And now it sounds like they're already talking about season 5 too. So, and I do notice when I go on social media, there is a lot of chatter about it. There's a lot of people covering it and recap videos and podcasts and things like that. So I think it has hit the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Because I think we're getting there. Is the answer.
Yeah, that rolled R at the end. You're like, I showed that clip to Maya, who's not really watching right now, and as soon as she did the Maya went, oh.
I can't watch that without getting chills. Yeah. And people have been really breaking down. Like I linked in our Discord chat for, I guess, episode 5. Someone did a Reddit post where they really broke down everything. They mapped out her whole speech alongside the things that Lestat and Marius were saying at the same times and how they overlapped thematically and the visual things that were going on. Just really impressive work.
But he was up there for 3 days, so we had a lot of time to think.
3 days.
That was another one of the memeable Lestat moments, right? Like that's going to be in the compilations of I've been up here for 3 days.
Speaking of timelines and doing the work to put it all together, I have to shout out that Corey from the Interview Vampire subreddit wrote another blog post for us called The Queen Awakens Great Conversion Timeline. So you can find this on the lorehounds.com blog. And it goes through really nicely, pieces together the timeline of events, including, the things we learned from Marius in this past episode, and including things we learned from the Talamasca show, and then laying out the why and the where it's probably going from here, including why Gabriella's so into this, and why, the whole Amel thing. So light book spoilers there on the Amel regard, but if you're curious about that, I recommend checking it out.
Yeah. And I would recommend it. It's very good. There were questions over whether me and Corey were the same person.
Right.
Deny such allegations. However, I am equally attracted to Lestat.
the Lestat thirst is real.
Guilty.
What did you think
Put me in cuffs and lock me up.
Yeah, you did the gif from the guy with the Chinese food.
What is the charge?
Eating succulent Chinese food. What did you think of this episode?
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I would say if you're not in a good headspace, wait till tomorrow to watch it, because it's like, all the other episodes had a mix of like really heartbreaking stuff, but also really funny and happy stuff. And there's some laughs in here, but this was the episode that made me like go wide-eyed, like, oh my God, so much. Like I was in the middle of watching this and outlining it, and Maya came into the room to ask me a question. And she was like, are you okay? Because I was just like, like my face was just like, it looked like somebody had just like shouted in my face because Claudia did.
Right.
It was so much. It was a lot to handle, but it was so well done. I mean, what an incredible performance. The accent work was maybe my biggest criticism of this episode, which was weird because Delaney did a good job in season 2, as far as I thought. But maybe I'm just listening for it more now that I know that she's actually British. But man, that Claudia monologue sounded half British to me the entire time.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't rub up against that as much.
That's my to be clear, that's my biggest criticism of the episode, because the episode was so good and her performance was incredible overall. Her breaking out of the circle and really just the attention to detail, having her ankles still be slit so that she couldn't run away. All this, the Mayfair witch ambiance, the comedy within Louis and Lestat together, even when they're just completely, taken aback by everything that Claudia said. Louis going like, I guess that puts an end to that. Like, so good. I think this show does the perfect balance of humor versus actual drama. Right.
And really grounded human drama, even though they're vampires.
What about you?
Yeah, I really like this. A lot of people are calling it their favorite of the season. I'm still going to stick with 3 and 5 as my tops, but this was an incredible hour of television again. I'll say this is probably the only one I've only watched twice before recording. And I guess, part of it just has to do with, having had a very busy week, but also just the emotional heaviness of it. And I'll say part of it is also that it's a more straightforward episode. I didn't need as much.
Yeah, it's not jumping around so much. There's not a lot of flashing memories or anything like that.
And it just speaks right to like this emotional core of this relationship. And that's, I got it. Oh, I really got it.
Yeah.
But I was glad because of the Claudia stuff. I was glad that we had a week in between that stained glass eyes emotional moment and this sort of clap back against that.
Yeah. Certainly, I think that the showrunners went, oh, you were starting to feel badly for Claudia again? Let's pull that back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and I don't know, because like the one thing that really made me cry this episode, perhaps, is maybe not the only, but the thing that made me the most emotional was her yelling about Madeline.
Yes, and I think it's true, and this show does a good job of this, of like, you can be both victim and perpetrator in this world, and that's realistic to the real world. I think we've seen the victim version of Claudia a lot this season. I don't think that we have seen the perpetrator version as much, and here we have. Right. Especially, lying about Lestat and causing him to get killed.
Right. I mean, this is, at the end of the day, like, Louis can romanticize her as his daughter all he wants, but at the end of the day, this is the girl who, would chop off a woman's breast to keep as a trophy after murdering her. Like, she was very, like, one of, perhaps in some ways, even more bloodthirsty than Lestat.
Absolutely. No, I definitely think so. Because she had that teenager impulsiveness in her the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say, yeah, obviously the Lestat hive is over the moon about, just...
I'm sure.
It was I bet. It's a very romantic episode. Poor Lemuel. But I think what really, obviously, again, it's like they do the lighter, more tender moments so well, but what you walk away with, what really sticks in your craw as you walk away, is the emotional moments. And, previously in this season, they did one of the best representations of talking about sexual assault. And now we see one of the best representations of a panic attack that I've ever seen on television. And I know a lot of other people are connecting with that as well. Just showing Lestat dealing with reality crashing down physically, how it physically affects him, in addition to, the panic of trying to push it off and accept it. And, yeah.
Yeah, I think Lestat, too, is confronting. Perhaps he was groomed a bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. And as far as the ending, I'm not going to pretend for a second that I think they're dead, obviously.
No, they're not dead.
I mean, we had Dr. Farid lay it out for us earlier in the season that, vampires can survive some hours, especially those with the blood of Akasha can survive some hours without
He dropped it again this episode. It really got me. He's like, but I have the blood of Akasha. And Louis like, it's not the blood. It's what you do with it. And I just love that. It's a recurring trope in the show now, but like somebody says something profound to Lestat and he just laughs in their face.
Yeah. But as far as like the Armand Defense League, listen, Murder Pookie always has a reason, or 20, and we'll talk about it. Give him
5 lashings for each of the laws.
Yeah, well, I mean, he basically, like, we'll get to it later, but the whole episode, people keep talking about how this concert's going to bring on the apocalypse. So I don't think that he really wanted them dead. I don't think he or Daniel really wanted them dead. I think they, it's kind of misleading when they walk away at the end that they might be leaving their heads there. I don't think that's what's happened. We'll see. If I might be proven wrong. Nobody's seen the finale outside like the show team. But I can see wanting to stop the concert. And I do, part of me wonders, like, oh, are we actually not going to see the concert because that would be extremely expensive to film?
Maybe that's the truth. I don't know. I really would like to see the concert.
I know, but 50,000 vampires? 50, I don't know.
Well, you could CGI that in the back.
That's not cheap, yeah.
You get a good couple hundred in there and you'll be fine.
We'll see, yeah. We'll see what happens next week. It's killing me that I can't, when we're done with this, just watch the finale.
Well, that's one thing we should say. We don't have a screener for the finale. We don't know if we're going to get it before the finale, so we'll probably be a day or two later with the finale coverage. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, shall we get right into the episode then? We got plenty to cover.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So we're back in Montreal. Or I don't even know how Lestat pronounced it. I'm not even going to try.
Montreal.
It's Halloween again. And Lestat prepares new identities before 50,000 vampires descend on Montreal to hear his music, which only appeals to vampires. Pitchfork gave it a 3 out of 10, of course. Having spent the night in Lestat's coffin, Louis accompanies Lestat to see the witch Merrick Mayfair, but not before dinner with a sassy Daniel. Daniel tries to get an end to his biography, but fishes for information about the fog of vampiric love and perhaps the true relationship between Lestat and Sophia. The vampires drink a vintage of Leoncourt blood, and Daniel announces his new relationship. So, first of all, can we just say that Lestat and Cortland are in a book club?
Where's that flashback?
They didn't want to hire that actor for the day. That's what it is.
Yeah, or maybe what's her name? Spalding didn't want to lend him out. Yeah, so we found out it's Lestat, Cortland, Merrick, and then he said Mayor Nagin and James Carville, and so. These are two real world references. The other one, Ray Nagin, the mayor, he was the mayor from 2002 to 2010 of New Orleans, of course. And he ran the city. He's famous for running the city during the Katrina disaster, or as many would say, misrunning the city during the Katrina disaster. And then probably even more famous for later being indicted on 21 charges of bribery, kickback schemes, money laundering, and other corruption offenses. Like, it is just really flagrant. If you feel free to look him up, Ray Nagin. So it's funny, he's in the book club, but the one that Lestat says everybody hated is James Carville, who you might have heard of, referred to as the Raging Cajun. He's a Democratic he was a strategist.
Is this the one that was married to the Republican strategist? Yes. And that was like a whole, everyone was like, look, we can all get along. And then we were like, yeah, right. Maybe not.
Right. So he helped Bill Clinton win, and he was a strategist for a bunch of other campaigns, and now he's like a pundit.
Oh, this is the economy it's the economy stupid guy.
Was that him? Maybe.
I think that's him.
But the thing is, like, Lestat says everybody hated him, but he's by far the least controversial person that he named at this book club.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But I have a question. So he said, we read your memoir, presumably in the book club, but didn't the book Interview with the Vampire not come out until Lestat was already in Montreal?
I wonder if there was another memoir. Maybe there was, I don't know, maybe the first one came out.
I think it must have been this. I don't know. But then it was funny. He said everybody loved Tom Anderson, that was the one who was the politician who was kind of nicer to them than the other politicians in New Orleans in the 1910s. And he's the one who Louis and Lestat said they'll get him a boat if he gets Lestat named King of Mardi Gras. And then he said during that, like, Lestat's like, I want to be King of Mardi Gras. And Tom's like, ha ha ha, him. And because of that, Lestat killed him during their little murder party after Mardi Gras. And he's the one that Claudia poisoned so that Lestat would drink that poison, knowing that he would be petty and go after him.
Oh, interesting.
And then there's a reference to, people love the way he said the line at one point, Topeka, this isn't Topeka. And Lestat says, I said that. But not like that, I'm sure.
Right. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, good callback.
Mm-hmm. Good callback. I loved the way this opens, where, he wakes up and he calls Montreal his halfway home, and the intersection of his many selves: stutterer, ape, actor, keeper, tourist, recluse, rock star, nesting doll of identities. But then he says, I was coming out of a coma, feeling alive, or maybe it was him. And then Louis walks in the room, and the entire world goes, oh.
They're banging.
Yeah, well,
just to be clear, or fanging. I'm sorry,
fanging. But here's a question. So he talks about this coffin, and Louis didn't sleep in this Hastings coffin. With Hastings is a bedding brand, by the way. But does that mean, like, was Louis supposed to sleep in Lestat's coffin with him, or he bought a whole other coffin for Louis?
Oh, I think I think he got him a vintage coffin. Okay. It's the guest bed. You have to have a guest bed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to, but it seems like Lestat's the kind of person who likes to entertain. He's got a guest bed.
Yeah, but I think he wants to entertain Louis in his bed. But yeah, I also clocked on the voicemail. So there was the voicemail from Mary Rick he listened to, which is obviously Merrick. We also see calls coming in from Toi, which we know is Gabriella. And then also Louis, which means, I mean, it sounds like Louis, but it means him. So I'm pretty sure it's Louis. Louis.
Oh, cute.
and private. I'm like, who's the private calls? Is that going to be a thing?
That's a good question. Is that going to be a thing?
Other question about is it going to be a thing? We get caught up on the Fraudia thing. It's been apparently months since Lestat went to see her in the diner, and Louis has quote unquote done his best to stay clear of her, Venmo'd her once, and I don't know if that's the initial $500K or since. He said he blocked her number, but then she called him from a different number and he picked up. So I have a feeling we might not be done with Fraudia.
Yeah, she's either going to die or be turned, but why not both?
Yeah, we'll talk about some theorization about that going on in the Inside the Coffin segment.
It turns out she was just like in a costume for the seance. That was her.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. That was Claudia.
What was interesting, he said that Louis called Merrick the worst kind of witch. Do you think that means a Mayfair?
Ooh, it could be, or maybe he doesn't like seance-y witches, like those who deal with the dead.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just going for it here. Could be.
Yeah, because the stats like she's different, her and her uncle Cortland, which is why I was like, oh, maybe they're saying different than the other Mayfairs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that could be too. Okay. All right, I'm into it. I think it is Mayfair. They don't like the Mayfairs. Do you think Lestat knows about the Taltos stuff? Because I think the Mayfairs are the only witches involved with like a demigod.
Yeah, I don't know. But Louis and his family, like, remember even in the first season when Louis' sister was going to get married and they're like, oh, you're going to, they talked about jumping the broom, which is a wedding tradition. And they're like, oh, like the Mayfairs or something like that.
Oh, I didn't remember that. I was not much aware of the Mayfairs at that point because I was not going to watch Mayfair Witches until later.
Right. Well, I guess, did it exist when you watched the first season? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it did actually.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just rewatched it recently.
Did you enjoy it?
The first season of Interview with the Vampire, I mean.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So,
yeah,
yes.
You're like, I'm not going to Mayfair Witches.
No, I will. Actually, so what I'm doing, I'm rereading the vampire books now. And then when I get to, I forget, I laid out a track for myself. And at some point, I'm going to sidestep. And I haven't reread the Mayfair Witches books since they came out in the 90s, since I was a teenager, basically, or, after they came out. So I'm going to finally reread them and then rewatch the show, which probably is a bad idea doing in that order, but that's something I want to do.
Well, you got to make your own mistakes,
Yeah.
And then later you can have a seance to see, what went wrong. No, I'd like to read the books at some point too, because I think the bones of a good story are there. Honestly, I'm talking a lot of smack about the Mayfair Witches show, but like I enjoyed season 2. It was not nearly as good as Interview with the Vampire, but it was a really fun story.
Yeah. And I heard there was an interview recently with Mark Johnson, who's he's the producer who's in charge of like the overarching, Anne Rice Immortal. That's what they call it on AMC. Yep. So all of the shows together. And he was saying that Mayfair Witches season 3, he's is particularly excited about and thinks it will be better received. He basically said in different words, he didn't call it like almost a reboot, but something along those lines I think the idea is that they are maybe, I don't know, maybe taking bigger swings or something, but I don't know that that's what was missing per se.
No, I don't think so either. I think it was more, let's not talk too much smack.
Yeah.
Let's not talk too much smack. Let's get right back to our show that we really love.
Justice for Talamasca. Anyway, so Lestat didn't Lestat's the one who, like, he's putting all of his ducks in a row. He wanted to do the dinner with Dan, I think, because he feels bad about the way he treated him. He's the one who reached out to Merrick Mayfair because he wants to help Louis find closure that's healthier than the Fraudia angle.
Somebody's got to help him. My God.
Yeah. And Louis says these are all bad ideas. Let's cancel it all. And of course they don't. But I love Lestat's response because it's Halloween. He said, "Let's stay inside and answer the begging doorbell about trick-or-treaters." The begging doorbell.
It's funny because we saw him, the season opened up basically with him, answering the doorbell for Halloweeners.
Right.
Halloweenies.
Yeah. I love that he's like really into Halloween. He also, where is it? So they said they're doing the concert. The concert does take place on Halloween in the book. But he said they're doing it that week to allow like all the visiting vampires to blend in. And he's like into all the traditions. He puts a sign in the door. It says, "Prenez un saumon." So always just like only take one, please. Or actually it doesn't even say please. It just says only take one. Which obviously foolproof plan always. But it was just like it really opened the episode like with this charming music and like these slow fades. It was like this very cozy Halloween special opening and a nice contrast with that opening Halloween. He was confronted during that opening Halloween after the book came out with all these people dressed as like his exes and stuff. Yeah. And this time, now that he has made a name for himself, there was a kid walking around dressed as Lestat this time. So progress.
I didn't notice that. That's really cute. And of course, he's the Grim Reaper because he's like, "I am one with death." Lestat can be so fucking dramatic,
And of course, they get the flyers. Make more, make more. There's make more, make more. People are chanting on the one hand, and then somebody else is like, "Obey the 5 laws," and handing out flyers. So I still think Team Pink versus Team Green is on. Poster theory is in effect.
Very possible. And I will say we know that Lestat did not turn Alex because he can be telepathic with him. I wonder why Gabriella did. I wonder why Alex is just so freaking mad at Lestat when he can read in his mind that he had nothing to do with it, and he should be able to read in Armand. I guess no, because didn't it take Louis a long time? Louis
wasn't great at it, and Alex is learning from Armand, who's the best at it. So I think that I think that Alex is totally under the thrall of Armand and whatever Armand tells him to think at this point. And as Lestat points out, at this point, Larry's quote unquote suicide was still mysterious. So I think from Alex's perspective, he just looks at Lestat and it doesn't matter that Lestat didn't want Larry to die. He bullied him and then he appeared to have killed himself.
Yeah.
So now Alex is siding with the guy who did it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, I just wonder if is Armand just that good at keeping people out of his head, maybe?
Yeah.
I remember there was something in...
He's the best at it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something... Yeah, that's what I was saying is like, I think there was a scene where Lestat, like still pretty new as being a vampire, is like getting manipulated by Armand because he's trying to get into Armand's head and Armand's like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He is a gremlin. He's very good at being a gremlin.
He's a brain gremlin.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting. We'll talk about this more obviously later, but Lestat calls the concert Lestat's final gift to the vampiress Gabriella. Obligations met, good luck, and fuck off everyone everywhere. So it seems like even at the start of this episode, before the video leak, he's like, that situation's bad and I'm done with it.
Yeah, I think he does realize that it's manipulative for sure. I mean, she's not good to him at all. We all know that, and I think he's seeing that now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe sometimes there was How I Met Your Mother episode where like when someone pointed something out to you, you heard glass shattering and you were like, "Oh my God, I can't unsee that in my partner anymore." And I think that Daniel asking questions is very much why Lestat is like, oh, maybe this is a bad relationship.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and Lestat says later during the confrontation, like, I brought her on the bus. I brought you to her. I guess part of me wanted to be caught.
Yeah.
Like he wanted it to be over, I think.
Yeah.
Wanted the secret to be out with Louis, probably.
Yep.
Yeah. And I love that he picks up these 3 passports. He has a French one that says Lestat Gregor, a Canadian one that says Sheridan Blackwood, and a U.S. one that says Clarence Oddbody. And
who's making up these names?
Anne Rice, actually.
Oh,
well,
okay.
Well, actually,
okay.
I'll say Clarence Oddbody is the name of the angel from It's a Wonderful Life. But yeah, all of these are names that Lestat uses. Like Anne Rice had a great time making up aliases for Lestat. We heard before Sebastian Melmoth, when in the season 2, when Louis goes back to New Orleans and he takes that tour, and there's like, they stop at their old house and they're like, and the man living here was named Sebastian Melmoth. Like, ha ha ha. That was one of Lestat's
Right.
aliases from the books. We heard earlier this season, Lestat de Valois, he says is a name he's using when he first goes to Paris and meets Nikki to like get away from his aristocratic background. There are still others out there. I want to thank Suika on Blue Sky, who shared a nice list with me that somebody collated. So there's also, we haven't heard yet, Stanford Wild, Lionel Porter, Isaac Rummel, and my favorite, Baron von Kindergarten.
Who's believing these? That's the real question.
But that's the thing, like Clarence, like, okay, Lestat Gregor, fine. Sheridan Blackwood, okay. Like, I do think maybe the Sheridan part from Anne Rice was a reference. Oh, I should say Sebastian Melmoth was also a real world reference that Oscar Wilde used to use that as an alias.
Oh.
Sheridan Blackwood might refer to some classic like Gothic writers. For example, Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, I guess it's pronounced, and is the writer of Carmilla, this really famous lesbian vampire novella. Actually, really quite good. I do recommend it. From the 19th century, and then maybe like I like Algernon Blackwood was also a famous writer, but Blackwood is a name that comes up particularly in Blackwood Farm, is one of the later books in the Vampire Chronicles that's a crossover with the Mayfair books. And there are like, people are really nervous already, even though that's much later in the series, about whether this character Quinn Blackwood will show up, because Quinn is a character a lot of people like. So I've heard people say like, oh, they said the name Blackwood, now Quinn's never coming. But I don't know. I think they've done so far, like unless they said they killed that character off screen, like Agent Talbot. I think most of the time they drop a name and then keep dropping it until that person eventually shows up.
I like it.
We'll see.
No, yeah. I think that rewarding people who are eagle-eyed is a great way to keep, superfans being evangelical about a show.
Right. That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, what did you think about Lestat's reviews? It got a 3.1 from Pitchfork, which I had to look up the Pitchfork scale, and 3.1 is they consider really bad, incompetent, and thoughtless.
Oh man, that's pretty awful. I mean, look, I used to have, well, I guess I still have a degree in music, but I got a degree in music and I used to go to school for music. And during that time, we looked at Pitchfork a lot. Since then, I kind of don't care what Pitchfork says. I like what I like.
No, I'll say the review was written by Daniel Hart. So he said he had a great time writing it, making fun of his own music.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
Yeah. It opens with the Pitchfork review. Beau Ridley, the guy who shot Lestat, should spend the rest of his life in prison. He also saved us from a second album from the Vampire Lestat. And Lestat looks so hurt by it.
Yeah, Lestat pretends to be so aloof, but he is so thin-skinned. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, artists, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and he did say it was for vampire, not human ears, and the vampires seem to love it.
Yeah. I mean, I love the scene with the vampire groupies later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently the largest gathering of vampires in history. Like, Louise, what could go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. They're really teasing this finale hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, he is successful in Gabriella's goal, at least, of fueling the great conversion. But Louise, right, Montreal feeding frenzy incoming.
Yep, absolutely.
And
are people just going to be like, oh, no, everybody's disappearing, but it's fine.
Yeah. Did you used to, so they filmed this season in Canada, obviously. And so they had to make a Drake reference and a Degrassi reference. Did you used to watch Degrassi?
No, I did not. I was too young to really be part of that generation. And I mean, it's a shame that Drake died when Kendrick murdered him at the Super Bowl. But I can't listen to his music at this point.
Apparently he dropped 50 songs that one day, though. And that's why Cabbage was on number 68 on the Billboard Top 100.
Did that actually happen? Like, did he release 50 songs on one day recently?
Not that I know of. I think it's an exaggeration. I don't know. I'm not much of I don't follow Drake that much, except for, I'll say, when it comes to the Kendrick Lamar thing, I came out of that with a lot more respect for him and feeling exactly the same about Drake as I did going in.
Yeah, everything what is it the kids say? Everything I've learned about Drake has been against my will.
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Like, I don't have any strong feelings about him, but it was funny.
Exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah. Like, I don't seek out information on him because I like or dislike him. I just know that Kendrick wrote the greatest diss track of all time about it.
Right. Several. Yeah.
Right. Well, so we've got Daniel Malloy here.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Malloy is the saltiest guy I've ever witnessed in my life. He is the best person at goading someone, maybe on all of television, do you think?
He's certainly up there, yeah.
Like, who's better than that? Even the second best is his character in Succession.
Oh, fair.
He's just so good at it. There's like a level of sass in the tone of his voice that I don't think anyone else can mimic.
It was so nice, though, when they walk in and you see it's him there and it's like, reunited and it feels so good. I think somebody actually commented that in the Discord. But yeah, the whole, I don't know, it obviously felt off between him and them. They didn't seem to notice as much as I did. I also clocked Daniel's sunburn right away, which it took them a while to comment on. I'm like, something weird is up right now.
Yeah, absolutely something weird was up. I did enjoy the whole we brought you a fine vintage, your own blood. And that's a great way to foreshadow the whole, Sophia thing later. Sophia Gabriella thing. He likes indulging in his own flesh.
Yeah. So I had to look up. So there's this Francine Lucien Lachapelle they said a Liancourt descendant, but then they said she's from a line that came to Montreal in 1749. So Lestat wasn't born until 1760. So actually, at first I thought a descendant of him. And then I'm like, no. This is a different branch of the family.
Yeah, I got it. Or
I thought a descendant of, because some of his brother's kids survived the massacre, right? So
I don't know about that. Yeah, no, they did because they were crying children at the end.
Right. But no, it's not from them as I initially thought. It's from some other branch that left France before he was born.
Right. Which good for them, because apparently it was not a good time for the Liancourts after that.
Yeah. So Lem calls as Louis calls him. Lestat's clearly jealous about him. He's like, tell them to keep it simple. And then before the okay, you two, that Lestat also freaks out about. So I guess the tell them to keep it simple was about them showing up. But it was it was cute how the restaurant staff and guests were so starstruck by Lestat. And Louis says later, it worked out for both of us. You walking in probably just made the joint.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, it's fun to see him play with, his fame and the fact that all the vampires know he's alive and all the humans think he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it was the flirting between them was fully on from the beginning. Like, I feel bad for Lemuel, and I wonder what kind of messy breakup he and Louis are inevitably going to have, considering that Lemuel seems really deeply ensconced in Louis's business empire. Or is it going to, I don't know, maybe he can get to know Lestat and they can all be happy together.
He is going to be in the Cayman Islands so quick.
Oh, there's a character named Cayman that some people think that he is. Anyway.
Oh.
And I love that Louis at this point, obviously we get more honesty later, but Lestat's like, we could talk about the proximity of your restaurant to my home. He's like, it's a catastrophic coincidence. Like, sure it is. Okay, so I'm not a Swiftie, but so I didn't even understand at first when Daniel called them Taylor and Travis when they walked in.
Oh.
But apparently I read somewhere that it just so happened, obviously completely coincidental because they couldn't have planned this, that the episode dropped on the same day as Taylor Swift and Travis, what's his football face's name?
Travis Kelce. No, it didn't. It was
wedding?
A week ago. Yeah, it's a week later.
Oh, a week after their wedding. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because their wedding was last weekend at Madison Square Garden. You haven't heard about this whole kerfluffle?
Well, it was a kerfluffle?
Yeah, because they booked MSG on the 4th of July. And there was like a lot of police overtime, and apparently she did pay for that. But then a lot of people were like, that you closed all the streets and my business was running and you cost me money. And there's a lot of public debate right now.
You know what it was? Why I thought it was the same day? Because the trailer for after episode 5 is when the trailer for episode 6 came out. And that, I guess, was the same day as their wedding.
Yeah, that's probably true. And I think that was in the trailer. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. What did you think about, so they had that cute moment pretending they didn't know what they said in the hurricane, and Daniel wants an ending, and Lestat said it was enough that he showed up, and Daniel was just like not having it. But I was really moved by it. What do you think? Would that be a satisfying end to the documentary for you?
I think that Daniel wanted more fire because he wanted to feel better about what he was about to do. I think he getting that sappy ending makes him look like an asshole. Well,
yeah. I also love that Daniel's quote unquote gotcha question is the fog of vampiric love. Was that a thing for you? And he's pretending it's about the interview, but I'm like, Daniel, you are asking about yourself.
Yes. No, absolutely. He is trying to figure out where he's about now.
Mm-hmm.
Is he allying himself with the bad guy?
Yeah, he says, I'm seeing someone. And they don't ask follow-up questions. Always ask follow-up questions. Why doesn't everyone go to journalism school?
Yeah, I think that Daniel's last episode is probably next episode.
I don't agree, but we'll see. And I also, but I do wonder, like, about him and Armand. He says, I appreciate you respecting my privacy, Louis, because Louis is like, no, I stayed out of your head during the Dubai interview out of respect. He's like, I appreciate you respecting my privacy. Clearly a callback to the fact that last week Armand told him that he's been stalking him for 52 years. And he told him that he went back and reported his stalking activities to Louis. Do you think that part is true? Do you think Armand told Louis what he was up to with Daniel?
No, and I don't think Louis ever asked, because I think Louis has made a sport of not asking the hard questions. Even think about his reaction to Lestat saying, can I ask a question? And he goes, I'll risk it.
Yeah.
Louis does not like uncomfortable questions.
No, it's true. But he's calling Lestat out. Why didn't you tell me true things? And to be honest, did Louis really want to know all of that stuff? No,
they're both hypocrites.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, they're both hypocrites. But what I appreciate about this episode is that they both acknowledge that this episode. Like, we're seeing growth in the sense of acknowledgement. And like, okay, being a self-aware asshole still leaves you an asshole, but it's the first step at least.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. If you acknowledge the problem. That's the first step to fixing it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I do wonder, as far as the Armand thing, what other traits he's picked up from him? Because later we hear, like, could you feel him trying to read our minds? And Louis says, he got in mine. So I'm wondering, what did he get from Louis's mind? But also it's cute that Armand's been teaching him.
Right.
And also he says to, like, he asks Lestat, like, okay, so you're transitioning from, I forget what he said, like petty rock star. What did he say? To Dark Monarch. And Lestat's like, no, I gifted the Great Conversion and Anthem. And he's basically, it's up to you what you do with it. That I'm done. And then he's like, well, what are you going to do after it? Rest, which of course makes me think of what Armand said to Larry.
They're not going to kill Lestat. Come on.
No, obviously not. Obviously not. I mean, they beheaded him, but yeah, I wonder if that was a reference to the. Yeah, no, I agree, but I wonder if that was a reference to that.
Yeah. Look, for a vampire, it's like a bug bite.
I mean,
no,
it depends.
It's not.
Yeah, we saw like one of those Brightmoor vampires die within a minute, but
yeah.
Lestat has the blood of Akasha, as he keeps telling us, and Louis been drinking from Lestat and probably Armand, so he's beefed up.
He's got secondary blood of Akasha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think Lestat could really be happy transcribing birdsong in the forest for a decade and then playing piano at one of Louis' hotels?
No, he loves society, and he loves being big fish in a small pond. Gabriella, I think, could be happy doing that for 10 years, not Lestat.
I agree.
Yep. Why don't we take a break, Elysia? We've got a lot more episode ahead of us. Let's slow down a little bit for a car ride. Louis and Lestat ride to the venue. Louis encourages Lestat to indulge in his vampire groupies. Lestat's question about Louis seeing him in Paris gets them arguing about Lestat's secrecy, Antoinette, and all the other slights over the years. When they realize what they're doing, they laugh. I really enjoyed this because I feel like we've done this for 2 seasons now. We've watched them argue for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a refreshing thing for them to just kind of laugh at themselves falling back into the same old patterns. Do you know what it reminds me of? This, and then later when they feel defeated from Claudia, is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Do you remember the end where what's her name? Clementine.
Kate Winslet.
Clementine. Yeah, Kate Winslet asks Jim Carrey's character, says like, we're just gonna get back together, and you're just gonna get tired of me, and I'm going to get tired of you, and we're going to argue, and we're going to be miserable. And he just goes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They're like, yeah, you know what? It's worth it for the journey. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of Louis and Lestat now.
There's no one I want to be miserable with more than you. Yeah. The way that, like, when they started arguing, Lestat is like beaming at Louis with this look of love. It was so cute. But then, of course, he's also saying bullshit. Like, I wanted to live with you like I had been dragged out of the bayou, gills to lungs, for you and you only. Like, no, you wanted to live in denial, ignore all of your shit, and pretend this is a new beginning that somehow erased your history.
Right. And Lestat, I'm sorry, but you are not the answer. That was somebody else.
Right. Yeah. And Antoinette was not the answer either.
No, she was not. She cut off her finger. She was very embarrassed about that. She thought the gift would give it back.
She thought the gift would make her grow it back.
Yeah.
Dangled to provoke Louis out of depression and then to punish him. Like, yeah, it doesn't make it better, but it does sound true. A voice I could fuck. That was a... And then he said, actually, no, she was a good time, and the book's prose reveled in making her smaller than she was. Justice for Antoinette. I'm like we're all like, fuck Antoinette, but that was a great line. He's not wrong.
Yeah, that was... He's really good at, like, again, like channeling Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Between that and Claudia, he's really channeling Reddit.
Yeah. Yeah. Reddit. Sorry.
Reddit. As a red meat for Reddit.
A question about, so you in the recap you were saying that, Louis pushed Lestat to show off to his fangirls. Do you think that was to make Lestat happy? Like he's like, oh, I know Lestat will love this.
Yeah. Yes, I do think so. I think he just wanted, he wanted him to enjoy himself. Louis does love Lestat, and Lestat actually says it to Louis in this. And I feel like, have we heard him say that before?
I don't know. I mean, I never doubted it, but
no, but I don't think he's ever said it out loud before, and that's growth.
That's growth. Although he also says, Dan is an awkward man with a "you think you're better than me" chip on his shoulder, and then Lestat's like, but we are better than him. Like, oh, that's gonna come bite you in the neck.
Yeah, or
like
or
a
slash him
machete.
in one at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what did you think about Lestat asked about Dreamstat in the book, and Louis says it was driven by guilt, and basically he said you being gone. Do you think that, because they bring up this Dreamstat thing a lot, and obviously Lestat does not come out and say, actually, I've been seeing you and Nikki and Magnus, but luckily he left, my younger self, haunting me.
Yeah, no, he didn't say it, but he did imply it, I think. He did imply that.
I thought he lied about it.
He said it shook some things loose right after he asked if he'd seen him, and it's like, okay. I think that implies that he's at least seeing something.
Okay, all right.
But he did deny seeing Louis, and that's not totally honest, because he has been seeing human Louis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he blames the blood of Akasha for all his bad behavior. And I was like, but even before Louis said his thing about it ain't the blood, it's what you do with it, I was like, that's bullshit. You cannot. It's like, saying we can only blame our epigenetics for so much. Like, yes, we inherit a certain amount of trauma, but it is up to us how we handle that in our own lives. And I think overall, not to be like book spoilery, but I think overall Lestat's arc is toward taking responsibility for things, and I think that they've done a good job setting that up this season, where we do see him start to take responsibility more. Obviously there's a big thing that comes on this episode, but you just see like how much he hates himself too when he calls himself a monster with all that pain in his voice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You feel badly for him in one breath, and you're like, okay, but you did all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one. You want to go to dress rehearsal?
Right, do it.
At the dress rehearsal, Lestat antagonizes his band, especially the depressed Alex, and serenades his lovers, Louis and Sophia. Gabriella encourages Louis to avoid the show, and when Louis refuses, she tells him to stay near her for her protection. Lemuel asks
for his protection.
For his protection. Lemuel sends Louis Lestat's new leaked video, and Lestat is offended that Louis was on his phone. Gabriella warns Lestat that Armand is planning to disrupt things. Sam doesn't get a vote.
Yeah. So I love the brutal love thing. The Salamander calls it dick salt. I'm like, okay, it's actually a great song. I love he finally says Tough Cookie, her full name. She's on the fence about it. I'm like, why is nobody saying this? Sam gets no vote. But I love that Sam's in the band on the keyboard now. Obviously, they needed another member.
They had to fill it out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
A rhythm guitarist is not a lead guitarist, and I don't think Alex had it in him.
No, well, Alex abstains from the vote on the song, but he's a lead guitarist. And because he was the one that Lestat says has the actual talent, Larry didn't. And so, honestly, probably having a keyboard rather than a rhythm guitarist rounds out the sound more. They don't need three guitars per se because they have the bass. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the plenty of bands have been two guitars, a bass, and drums.
I'm so nervous that the entire band is going to die next week. Maybe,
very possible.
Maybe not Sam because he's been around for a while, but maybe him too. I don't know. I don't want any of them to die. I don't want any of them to die.
They've been fun. But you know what? I will say, like, having characters developed and die does give better stakes
I
to
know.
the show. Like,
I
Claudia's death
know.
does be like, it does make you be like, hey, could Louis die?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But anyone who's not Louis and Lestat or Armand is, yeah, probably up for death. That I loved that serenade, and especially, so Louis meets quote unquote Sophia, and she's already so jealous. But then when she sees at some point that Lestat is purely singing that song to Louis, I don't know. What do we think? Like when she says, "Stick by me, I'll protect you," does she mean it, or is that sinister?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. I can't get a read on her. I do think she wants Lestat to be happy in general, but I don't know if she wants Louis to be involved in that.
No, yeah. Which is a bit of a change from, well, anyway, Gabriella is probably the most changed character from the books. But she has a point, though, that like there's vampires coming from all over the world, and she lists Dubai, Paris, Detroit, which is places we've specifically seen Louis piss vampires off. So probably, yeah, there are a bunch of his enemies coming. I bet Baby Jenks would be there. Definitely seems like her scene. Oh,
she's going to be involved. She's going to do something.
Yeah. But yep. I like that. I like that Louis shows some sort of growth in a way where, he says, like, she's like, "Oh, I heard you didn't want to do the concert," and he's like, "It doesn't matter what I think. He's going to do what he's going to do." But then he also says, "But I think he'd be hurt if I didn't show." And do you think she meant I think he'd be more hurt if you were hurt, or is that I think I would be hurt if you don't bugger off and let me have him to myself?
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that she thinks that he would be hurt if Louis was injured or died.
Sure.
I do think that's true. I mean, we saw a lot of people with injuries, including Louis, at the beginning of the season in the flash forward. So we'll see what happens here.
Do you think she was being sarcastic when she said he's shy, just as Lestat is doing the jumping twirls?
Yes, absolutely. She was being sarcastic. She was like, if he's not saying something to you, it's because it's intentional.
Right. Right. I don't know. Again, poor Lemuel, because Louis, he's like Louis had his 70-something year rebound with Armand. And I don't think his relationship with Lemuel might be less toxic as far as we know so far, but I don't think it's any more grounded in Louis' love.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely right. Yeah. I don't trust Lemuel.
Yeah, I don't know, because also Louis says he doesn't know what he's doing a lot of the time when he goes off. So that is like a bit, And
I don't think that Louis is a good partner to him. I'm just saying.
No, but I mean, Lemuel's off doing stuff that Louis doesn't know, which means we as the audience also don't know what he's been up to.
Right. No, definitely that's true.
But the texts between them are super sparse. Like Lemuel's just like, "You made it safely, safe." And then the next thing we see is a link to a new documentary by best-selling author Daniel Malloy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got Marking Territory by Gabriella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she left her scarf on his piano bench. So that's kind of creepy. And she said, "And the small books for travel." Does that mean that she got the passports?
I guess so. Yeah, I think she did. She was the one seeming to be coordinating his flights and whatnot. So why not?
Yeah, because she showed up while they were sleeping, which is a little creepy, left this stuff behind to mark her territory. And then, it sounds like to her, she thinks she's running the travel show, saying like, "I'll have Arthur bring you to the hangar after the concert," being the driver and the guy who Lestat said would replace the band's door. And she says they're going to Cadiz, but he doesn't it sounded like he's already decided he was going to not get in the car with Arturo after the show and ditch her and just go somewhere else. And he did not look into that kiss that she gave him at the end.
Right. No, I think that he's kind of getting sick of her.
Mm-hmm.
As much as she's been the one to leave, I almost feel like he is looking forward to being able to leave her for once.
Yeah. I got that sense that he's like just realizing in the last episode when he was like, remember when you left me? And she's like, oh, which time? And he's like, yeah,
right,
bitch.
Yep.
But she's right. Armand's in town. He's going to try to disrupt things. And I have to say, Lestat threatens to spank him. And I've seen a lot of horny responses to that on the internet. I'll just put him over my knee. And I do love the one consistency about Gabriella is that she does not like Armand and never did. And that's definitely true in the books too. But so we find out she's Alex's maker. She's very taken aback that Lestat interrupts to say that she should show some affection to Alex, that he needs it. So yeah, that was also like a sort of slap in her face, and also like in the fact like, you're a bad mother, be a better mother to him. But this means then Sam made Salamander, I guess, because Lestat obviously made TC because we know the drummer is at the table.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Huh. I like this, spreading it around.
Yeah. Because I think it's too much for one vampire to just make 3 fledglings in one go.
Yeah, I mean, I had said last episode, like, hey, isn't this a little weird that, he's making multiple fledglings, and you were saying it's more of a book thing to be more limited about it. But, I like that we didn't just have Lestat. Because again, it's a big process in this. It's not like the other vampire things. It's just like bite them all over and, drink or anything.
Right.
This is like, you basically have to filter the changees. You have to filter the fledgling's blood through the vampire. That's like an intense process.
Yeah. Yeah, and all 3 of them, because Sam and Gabriella are also centuries old. I hope Sam doesn't die because I need his full backstory.
I wonder if there could be a spinoff, Sam sucks.
Oh, poor Sam. He just gets roped into all the dirty work.
Yep. So he sure does.
Wonder what role he plays in the events that are going down.
Well, so there's a lot going down, and they get back into the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Louis shows Lestat the sex tape that leaked of him and his mom, which is attached to an interview with Daniel and Armand identifying Sophia as his mother. Lestat denies it, but then throws up and has a panic attack. Louis is disgusted. He calls it Armand-level deceit. Lestat throws the Claudia crisis back in his face, and he breaks down about his own breakdown. Louis holds a crumbling Lestat, and the two go to a bar. Louis mentions his own childhood sexual assault, which is new information to us, I think.
Yeah.
And the two compare their relationships with their mothers and agree they should cancel the evening's plans. And they go anyway.
Like Lestat's like ridiculous night. I love Lestat calls everything ridiculous that he doesn't like or that he like embarrasses him. Like the pronunciation of Worcester is ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I already mentioned Louis sexual assault. That's why I just want to get that out of the way. First of all, very, very sad that happened to him.
He said cousin that stuck his fingers in me also gave me $1. Like what? Where did that come from?
It came out of nowhere, but also I think it sounds like they've talked about it before, coffin talk. And I think he's really making an honest effort here at helping Lestat see like, yeah, you were groomed. Even if you don't think so, you were definitely groomed. Like she was in a position of power over you.
Yeah. Yeah, Lestat really like brushes off Louis' thing. Like, it's not about you right now, basically. And Louis like, oh, sorry, go ahead. Like, I was like, Louis being extremely generous because that was a pretty dick response to Louis dropping that intel. But as you said, yeah, probably he did already know.
Yeah, I don't think that was the first time for Lestat. That was just the first time for us.
Mm-hmm. So about the sex tape, it looked like it was in the studio. Did Alex set up the camera?
Yeah, or there's cameras just in the studio because they're recording and Daniel has it camered up for the documentary. I don't know.
Would Gabriella have allowed that? Because she was like, she basically turned Daniel away and said, "No more documentary for you."
Maybe she snuck it in. Maybe he snuck it in with Sam.
Yeah, that's my question. Is what role is Sam playing in this? Is he on Team Armand? Is he just a neutral party who's just like, I'm always, centuries later, I'm still dealing with the same vampire shit.
Yeah, I think Sam, he's taking a lot of these insults like a champ, and perhaps he thinks it's fair because he was directly involved with Claudia's death. At the same time, maybe he is just playing a role here.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like, yeah, all right, kick me around. You're going to get your head cut off soon.
Yeah, maybe. And yeah, Lestat is like trying to play this off as a deep fake at first. Like, oh, it's so sad and desperate. But they better tell us how, because this is in the books. The whole day walking thing is something that like some much older vampires than Armand can sort of eventually do. Where they can just sort of get like a sunburn like we saw with Daniel. So this is definitely an escalation of that lore to have not only Armand, which is, okay, he's like 500 years old. I can kind of buy into that. But then he's already taught Daniel how to do it. I'm like, tell me more about how this works.
Yeah. Well, we only saw Daniel in Twilight. So I wonder if this is, low-key sunwalking.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he was in blaring daylight.
Right, on Miami Beach at noon or something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we got an anatomy lesson from Lestat. I hope people learn some things.
Yeah.
I was also like, he's not. He was not in her vagina for 9 months. He was in her uterus. It's complicated.
Okay, yes, it is more complicated than Louis was making it out to be. But the point stands. It's like he was inside this woman for 9 months, and then
it's true. And
back inside.
And Lestat, as I mentioned earlier, this is like this is the biggest crash out we've seen in a season full of crash outs where he vomits on Louis' shoes, and he's got like. I've been watching the new Rick and Morty season. It just reminds me of Grandpa Rick with the vomit, the blood vomit like dribbling down his chin.
Oh my God. I haven't thought about Rick and Morty in many a year at this point.
Well, season 9 is airing now.
I'm not watching that.
Okay.
I don't want that.
Okay.
No, look, all right, to be clear, for the Rick and Morty fans in the audience, I enjoyed it the first like 2 or 3 seasons. And then I was like, all right, this is getting a little old, the shtick. And then the allegations against the voice actor came out, and I was like, I was already half out.
But he's gone.
I know.
Yeah.
But I was already half out, and I was like, this is a good enough reason for me to leave.
I actually think the season after he left was one of the best seasons overall. This one so far, I'm only a couple episodes in, or a few episodes in, and I think it's an okay season. I like the first 2 episodes better than episode 3. Anyway, I'm doing it I'm watching it right now to write for TV Sins, so I am intentionally tearing each episode I watch apart. So,
okay. I wonder how that changes your viewing.
Yeah. I mean, I do always like to watch something first, like just to get gauge my own feeling, and then go back and see how I feel about it when I do a rewatch for that purpose. So, yeah.
Interview with the podcaster.
Anyway, I think with Lestat's crash out, I think, he like I said before, he said basically, I think part of me wanted to be caught, but I also think that Louis finding out is what made it like fully hit home the reality of it.
Yeah. I think that's true. I think Lestat is very good at ignoring what people think, except Louis. I think he really does care what Louis thinks, which is why when Louis was just a bummer for like 20 years, he didn't just run off. He tried to wake Louis up from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but also Louis, like, it's like, you lied to me for a century about this. You hung her portrait over our coffins. But okay, here's the question. Was it a bad portrait? Because you sure didn't recognize her now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, well, she's cutting her hair. She's dressing differently. I mean, maybe the portrait is from her younger years. Maybe do you remember? Did we see the portrait?
Oh, I have to. I do actually plan to. I do plan to go back and rewatch from the beginning on because season 3 is coming to Netflix in Europe in July 20th. So I'm restarting from the beginning again so that I can also watch this when it comes out after the finale.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to watch out for
what
that.
Does she look like in the portrait?
So when we do our season wrap, which we're going to do a season wrap about it'll release about a week after the finale. I'll have rewatched the whole thing, so I'll watch out for that.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, Lestat has a point though that like he's Louis. I understand Louis' reaction to, obviously this is not cool information to find out about your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever. But Lestat also has a point that, he's like, I spent a month and a half talking you back from unimaginable frenzy in the middle of my own fracturing, while after he was shot and everything. So, yeah, I think, I don't know. I think that this, as far as a revelation of this magnitude could have gone, I think this is kind of the best in most ways, except when Louis calls it Armand level deceit. Do you agree that it's Armand level deceit? I guess
no, not at all. Not at all. I think that Armand's deception was, something. It was a secret that belonged to Louis, right? That should have been told to Louis.
Louis asked for the memory wipe, though. I believe that personally.
Well, the memory wipe of the 1970s,
but the other,
right? Or the 1980s,
right. Not
anyway,
the play,
but not of the fact that Lestat saved Claudia. I think it is different because it's something that goes down to basic morality, and Lestat's is more complicated than that.
That's true. That's true. I'll go with you on that. Yeah. But yeah, then he has that really visceral panic attack, which just was so realistic. And Louis just does the thing that everyone, I think most people who have a panic attack hope that the person that they love does, is just hugs him and tells him it's going to be okay.
He did a good job. Good for Louis.
Yeah. I mean, because I understand Lestat to a certain degree. Like, this is a prime grooming situation where she was the only person who showed him affection growing up, as he says, but she was also withholding of that affection, making him crave more of it in an unhealthy way. And to her credit, he says she helped him imagine a larger life beyond Auvergne. But then when they're talking later in the bar, Louis asks, so you never had sex before turning her, right? And Lestat, instead of answering, just takes a sip and then turns to bashing Louis's mother, who sucked, but in a totally different, more understandable way. So I guess that means she was doing things to him before even the turning.
Yeah, I think that's right. I really don't think that she was innocent before the grooming and then suddenly was attracted to her son. I think she was a groomer from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how they call out, though, in the script, if we can find the blame, if we agree on the blame, then it's all mapped, the why we are, the why we do. And then he's like, no, fuck that noise. I conduct the chaos. So it is, in a way, that is him taking a bit of responsibility. It's not just the bad blood. It's things he did.
Yeah. I mean, he has been pretty awful to a lot of people in his life. We do find out that one of the worst things that he was alleged to do, he didn't do. So there's that. Win for our Lestat defenders this episode. I'll say that.
Yeah. And we got, with the Lestat moment, we got the blood and the beer, which was really a nice intimate moment because it's sort of like sex between vampires in book terms.
Really?
Yeah.
Drinking the blood of another one?
Mm-hmm. And Louis' response to it, like, he's like, oh, this is my favorite flavor.
Yeah, he was really like, wow, that really hit the spot.
Yeah. It was cute. It was a cute moment. Yeah, it was great. Like, it was hard to watch, especially the first time, how visceral and ugly the confrontation got. But to see how relatively quickly and relatively healthily, especially for these vampires, they worked through it was like, these kids just might work it out one day if they get their heads back attached. Once they have a good head on their shoulders again, if you will.
I think that's right. I think they're good. I think they're going to be great. You know who's not great, though? Claudia. She's not great at all. She's having a very hard time, wherever she is. Merrick Mayfair welcomes the vampires to a seance. With Claudia's personal possessions, she can call her back. Claudia is enraged. She attacks Merrick and unleashes everything she's ever felt about Louis, who she saw as the weakling she could manipulate, as she hated him and liked Lestat better. She confesses that she made up Lestat's threats, and she taunts them both with their failures, demanding that they stop using her name. She has spent her afterlife looking for Madeline and can't find her. Merrick closes the gate and the vampires weep. Lestat and Louis agree to do some work on themselves.
Yeah, so this whole seance thing is ripped right out of book 7, Merrick.
Yeah, it seemed like something that was a big book showpiece. So I'm glad that they got a good adaptation of it. So they're really pulling a lot from the different books, even later than the second book.
Yeah, and they said they would be pulling some things from Vampire Armand, which have I really seen much of that? Well, I guess we'll see in the finale. But yeah, there's been thought for a while that Merrick was showing up because of just previews and stuff, but it's like, oh, that's surprising that they're pulling that. But it's a good way to bring Claudia back.
Well, is the stuff from the Vampire Armand his romance with Daniel?
No, that's from Queen of the Damned sets that up. Okay. Yeah, and I think we'll get more of that next season, presumably that 52 years in between. Bring back Luke Brandon Field.
Is that the young Daniel?
That's the young Daniel. Okay. Yeah.
He was good. He was a really good young version of Eric Bogosian.
Yeah, the resemblance is uncanny, but also,
it's insane. I would have believed that they just made a 3D version of young Daniel.
Yeah, they cloned him and aged him too. Whatever. It's interesting. Merrick was advising them against it in advance. I had to look up. This struck me as odd. And anyone from New Orleans, I would love to hear from you on this. When she has her message at the beginning where she's like, I advise against it, but tell me before I go to the airport. She calls the airport Moisant Field, which was the original name of the New Orleans International Airport. They changed the name from that in 1960 and then changed it to the Louis Armstrong in 2001 on his 100th birthday. But do people today still call it Moisant Field, the airport? Or I don't know, is this a signal that this is just not our universe, which is fair?
It could be that she knew that they would remember it as that because that's when they were living there mostly. I guess Lestat moved back there, but Louis didn't, it seems like.
Yeah, because she's not that old, obviously.
She's
normal
not.
Human age.
The other thing is perhaps Louis Armstrong was an enemy of the Mayfairs. Who knows?
Maybe.
Just like real good witch hunter, Louis Armstrong.
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I had some suspicions about whether she initially planned to do some trickery at this, but I guess not. Scheduled for midnight on Halloween, how appropriate. But yeah, I was questioning the needing 2 hours in the room to prep and stuff, but I don't know. I had to let my suspicions go on my rewatch. I also wonder if any New Orleans people knew what liquor it was that she used. It looked like San Noir or San Noir. I tried looking it up and I couldn't find it, but this is in the spirits, literally called spirits, are used in these sorts of hoodoo seances to as a conductor for the spirits to take form. And we see Claudia is holding on to it and that dress to take form when she does, and then drops it when she disappears.
Yeah. Man, I will say the visuals here were great, and I know we've talked about like them having a low budget, but I didn't sense it at all in this scene.
No,
all the visuals were amazing. It was a great performance by Delaney. Again, the accent work was not my favorite part of it, but it didn't take away from it for me most of the time.
Yeah,
she really did sell this whole like, enraged person who was both victim and perpetrator to both of these. It also was interesting that Merrick kind of calls them out right away as like, you both killed her. And, Lestat's like, I believe she's speaking of the turning.
He's like, I know that you want to blame me for the play, but this is about when we should have let her die in that fire, apparently.
Well, the other, I think she makes the point, like, you could have taken me to a hospital. We could have tried another way.
Right. It's true. It was a selfish act, and she knows that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, obviously, Merrick knows Lestat from their book club. I love the tying back to the first season, because it does, the way this show goes through time, it can feel, especially with this change in perspective, it can feel like, different shows across the seasons. But this ties it back to like, Great Mama Ernestine did not like the Duloc boys, although Louis like, no, it's my brother Paul who called her like a whatever whore or whatever it was, and she's like, oh, did you hear that? It was the other one. But I wonder, Paul's brought up twice this episode. It makes me wonder, and we don't get these answers in the book, but I still wonder about his death, like why he just walked off the roof suddenly. I believe Lestat now when he says he wasn't involved. But was there something else involved? And what about these birds who were speaking to him? Could that have been some sort of spirits? And I wonder if bringing him up is a way of setting up getting into that story in the future.
Or was it the Mayfairs pissed about him, yelling about them all the time?
Maybe.
They could absolutely do that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So I had to check in with Jean about he started watching the first season. He watched the first episode. He said it was very interesting, but he wants to keep watching and see where it goes. But I said, like, listen, there's a hoodoo seance. I have some questions for you, because we've talked a lot about voodoo and hoodoo, and like it comes up a lot in like Marvel and stuff. So I'm familiar with, there's the Loa, which are like the, in some ways they're the saints of voodoo. And, but it is like this Haitian voodoo does sort of mix them up with Catholic saints, So
that was tripping me up, because again, I don't have background on this and I want you to continue on the Jean thing, but like the Mayfairs in Mayfair Witches never mention Christianity really.
Yeah, well, she's from a different branch, obviously, of the family. In the book, she calls the other Mayfairs like the Uptown Mayfairs. Like, it seems like she and Cortland have a better relationship in this show than they do in the books. But yeah, I like that because she's from New Orleans. I like that she seems to be grounded in hoodoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know Papa Legba he seems to be the most important Loa, because he's the one who's brought up the most. He's the guardian of the crossroads. So it absolutely makes sense that they would call upon him for this. And then the other main ones she called upon were the Catholic side of voodoo. And so she says, Virgin Mary, angels Michael and Gabriel. You know more about Bible stuff than me. Is there anything special about Michael and Gabriel being called upon? Do you know?
Michael and Gabriel. No, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, Gabriel's the one who, I don't know. I know more about early biblical stuff than I know about the Christian stuff. I know more about, Jewish lore and Hebrew Bible stuff than I do about New Testament stuff.
Okay, well, so one of the other ones that she mentions is son of Ham, which I guess is Canaan.
Yeah.
Do you know more about him?
There's a lot of loaded stuff in American racism about Canaan. Canaan is the cursed, right? So Canaan is the one who his whole land's going to be cursed, and then Canaan is the land that becomes Israel. Is that basically, again, the descendants of Canaan settle this area that becomes known as Canaan, and then that's the land that God's like said, promised to the Israelites, like, oh no, you can take that. That's yours now.
Okay.
And there was a branch of American racism and slavery that insisted that African slaves were descendants of Canaan, and that way it was justified biblically to have American slaves. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's also what Jean said to me about Canaan too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why I was thinking of that. Like, is that what they're trying to nod to here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then she also mentions Lord of Blood. I wasn't sure, like, it could have been of Bartholomew. I was having trouble figuring out what that was. There's also a Mama Yu, which I'm like, that sounds Chinese. I don't understand what Mama Yu is, and Jean couldn't help me with that one either. I looked it up, and I just found noodles. I'm also not sure what Blanc Denis is, but Baron Samedi, or as I called him, Sir Saturday, that one was easy to find, and that is another Loire. And he is noted for, quoting Wikipedia, disruption, obscenity, debauchery, and having a particular fondness for tobacco and rum. Additionally, he is the Loire of resurrection, and in the latter capacity, he is often called upon for healing by those near or approaching death, as he is the only baron that can accept an individual into the realm of the dead. So it totally makes sense why they would call on him here.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. There's so much lore in the world. And I focus so much on fictional lore, and why don't I go out and learn more lore like this?
It all ties together. Good things, shows like this bring it to our attention.
Right.
I did a deep dive into the cornstarch too, just trying to, because they made a point to the beginning, like, we need these special items. And of course, the dress and the diary are special items. That makes sense. Claudia's personal items. But then also at the beginning, he pulls out cornstarch and to kind of show it. And so I apparently cornstarch is used as a base for hoodoo sachet powders to make spells. But I also wondered if it was used in the salt circle because Claudia later says, like, oh, where's Madeline? You didn't bring her to the, like,
you two bringing her back in the cornstarch. You have it written here. Yeah. It's it's pretty dark.
Yeah, so I guess cornstarch was for that, but then I think I was looking for ways in which she was being a fraud, and I don't think she was being a fraud. I think I just have to accept that was Claudia. But does it matter that Fraudia also wrote in that diary they used?
Ooh, good question. Do you think that's going to tie? Ooh, maybe that's why she was able to break out of the circle.
You think?
And maybe she's going to be a little bit tethered to the land of the living through Regina.
And it was interesting also that Merrick saw Madeline, I don't know why I keep calling her by an American name, when she sees the broken Madeline when touching the dress, which also was like, that's what Claudia would first want to make them feel guilty about. Because she sure...
The only good thing that happened to her, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, why'd she move the chairs apart? Was it for airflow? But maybe it is just like bad feelings between them. And then I can't imagine if it was her trying to put on a show at first, that she would have bashed her own face into the table so that she needs dental work now.
Yeah, that was some pretty rough dental damage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's going to be a fortune to fix. I mean, I hear people going to Turkey now to fix their teeth because American dentistry is so expensive.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. But what did you think about the fact that when Claudia was in Merrick, she looked at Lestat when talking to Louis? Even after Louis called her attention, she kept looking back to Lestat.
I do think that she liked him better. I think she was telling the truth there. I think from the beginning, a lot of people have pointed out, like, they were a lot more alike than her and Louis. And so they got along a little better. And I kind of believe everything she said about, like, Louis was the easier one to manipulate, and so I went with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say that's book accurate too. Like, the whole thing that she says it's very similar in the book, that, like, basically hate you both, but I decided to choose Louis as my ally because I knew he would go along with it. Yeah. And I'd say Merrick's eyes did turn that sort of pink-orange color of Claudia's when she was supposed to be possessed. So I guess, and everything she said was so on, and she had the cut ankle backs. That was good CGI, the cut ankle backs.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. And the way that she was like stumbling a little bit when she was walking, I thought that was good.
And Louis like, I heard you calling to me. She's like, I'd have tripped Armand on the stairs if I wanted you with me. So does that mean she can physically just haunt? Is she attached to Louis maybe? Or because usually the ghosts are attached to something.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I thought that I read it more that like if I had that much power to pull someone
to call
in
from
with
the
me,
dead.
I would have gotten rid of Armand.
Yeah. Oh, and then when Louis says, what about the thing you should be thanking me for? And Lestat and Claudia both look at him with the same look like, what now?
Yeah. And then Louis' response later is really great when he goes, didn't know that one was in me.
Awkward. Yeah. I have to say in the book, Merrick says like maybe it was sort of a trickster demon rather than Claudia, kind of trying to make Louis feel better. But in this case, it seems more definitive in the end. I kept looking for excuses to write it off as that, but I do think it was really Claudia.
Absolutely. And if I were Louis, I would be trying to avoid whatever realm she's in as long as I could.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not shocked by it because a lot of us always assumed there was the 2 bits of pages of her diary that were torn out. Now we found out that one of them was the letters to the pages about Bruce. But then I always assumed that the other batch of pages that were torn out more roughly were the ones where she's like talking bad about Louis. And I thought that maybe Armand tore it out to protect Louis.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I wonder if he read them and spiraled for a little bit. Maybe walked out in the sun again.
Yeah. I mean, this was tough to watch, and like I said, I'm glad we had that week after that beautiful moment of sadness last week. But I do think at the end of the day, it doesn't mean just because she hates them doesn't mean that she doesn't also still love them in whatever way. Because love and hate are 2 sides of the same coin. Indifference is their opposite. And she's certainly not indifferent.
No, she is certainly not. And I was not prepared for that level of rage. I think, I was talking about before, like, I just felt like someone had just like, when one of those like cartoonists, like a monster roars in your face and then your hair is blown back. And that's how I felt after that. Like, I was like, oh my God.
But then I noticed on the rewatch at the beginning, Louis says, when they're talking about the seance, he's like, well, she'd be angry from being dipped in the river Styx. And so, yeah, the river Styx, it's known as the river of hate. And it's like considered to just be a river of anger, basically. It's Dante's 5th circle of hell. And the original Greek Styx means hateful. So and you have to wonder, like, is she affected by that as well, this response? Is that really a thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it seemed real when she said that she faked Lestat's worse than rape threats, because that vindicates what Lestat has been saying all season.
Yeah, no, I think that that's right. And I will cling to that with dear life because my poor boy can't do anything wrong.
Did you notice, though, he almost seemed to enjoy being berated by her?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it made him feel less guilty because he was definitely feeling really guilty last week for not saving her. Mm-hmm. And now he's like, yeah, all right, I'll take it now. Now I don't have to feel badly anymore.
Or maybe it's like this masochism, the same part of him that called himself a monster before. He's like, yeah, tell me I'm a monster. Give it to me.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Why not both?
Why not? ¿Por qué no los dos? I definitely, I did cry both times I watched with the, I can't find Madeline here, the one good thing in my bleak black life. And I don't know where she is. And I spend every fucking second of nowhere looking for her. Where is she? Why is she not here with me? So I guess Claudia is in purgatory. She talked about the spidery nothingness or something.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what she was trying to allude to if we're going with like, you know, a Christian version of heaven and hell, or if we're going with some kind of purgatory, some kind of blackness of nothing. I don't know.
In the books, it's definitely Christian heaven and hell. Because again, Anne Rice. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. She went through that whole thing, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And did she never retcon that? It was just, we're going with Christian heaven, hell.
Listen, this is maybe spoilers, but like space aliens show up later, so maybe a little bit, but she does too. There is there's that Memnoch the devil thing that we've talked about a couple times in the Inside the, and I'll actually bring it up Inside the Coffin this time, but that's literally like visiting heaven and hell, and that's apparently going to be a spin-off.
Okay. All right. I'm interested. I'm very interested.
And I wonder what's going to happen with Claudia now, because very notably, the salt circle is a gap blows in it, and Claudia walks out beyond it. So she was not contained.
No, she was not. And well, that's what I was saying. Like, if we're going with the whole Regina's connected through the diary, is she going to now possess Regina?
Yeah. Ooh, good question. That could be. I'll say this version. The whole seance was very much like the book to me, but this version ends a bit better because the version in the book ends with Louis attempting suicide, but we already saw him do that in the 70s last season. So this time it did feel like it was a bit of catharsis for them.
Yeah, I mean, what does he say? He says pretty much closes the door on that.
Yeah, she spared us the ambiguity.
I do think that's right, though, is like Louis always wondered, like, did he need to get some closure with her? And he's got his closure, I think. She's like, don't speak my name again.
Yeah. I wonder if part of her is this like, I'm so sick of you sad sacks. Well, she's like, you're making my death about yourself. But I wonder if part of her is just like being extra cruel as a way to sort of say, just like, let go of this, let go, move on with your life, and let me move on with my search for Madeline.
Right. Do you think that she's did she say something about like them holding her back or something?
I don't know.
I don't think she did, but maybe I'm putting that in my head.
Right.
But maybe they are holding her back with all their like longing for her.
Yeah, maybe.
Like most people who die, everyone who remembers them is dead in another 100 years, but that's not true for Claudia.
That's true. Yeah, it's been like, 80 years since she died in the 40s?
Yeah. I wonder if the lore is because of vampires having personally known you can't move on as easily.
I do hope. I mean, I'll say the ghost lore is definitely something, because it's one thing in the books, like Anne Rice just keeps adding new layers of lore as she goes on, because she's like, well, I've explored that enough. Let's add ghosts, And so the TV show has the opportunity to take all of that and say like, well, what is the definitive version through line of the lore throughout all of this? And so that's why I'm glad that they bring stuff like this forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's great, because it is frustrating to be like, all right, here's the phase of this now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we've got one more scene, but before that, we're going to take a break. Lestat and Louis fantasize about a life together. Alex smokes a cigarette and watches as Louis and Lestat are decapitated by Daniel and Armand.
So, apparently some vamps still like to smoke, or is it just like a habit?
It could be. I don't know. Do you retain a nicotine addiction?
I don't know. Does it like affect them physiologically at all? Or is it just, I mean, because I do feel like a lot of what keeps people smoking is the whole hand to mouth thing and the feeling of the smoke going into your lungs.
Yeah, no, that could be. I don't know. Well, I mean, Louis only talked about, like food tasting like paste, but
Right.
Cigarettes also already taste like pretty like
it's like
bleak.
ashtrays, literally.
Yeah, I guess they'd be fun. I mean, we know Akasha, big fan of ashes.
Well, yeah, that's how she eats through her skin, apparently.
Yep.
Or when she's being kept. Why must she be kept? Why in this place? I did note when they sat down on the bench to talk, a violin started playing. And this stuck out to me for two reasons. One is because I wondered if Lestat was thinking about Nikki at all. And the other thing is that a violin playing is, in the book, what directly wakes up. Like Lestat playing violin and Akasha hearing it on MTV, yes, really, is what wakes Akasha up finally in the book.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think very possible. And I don't think we get out of the next episode without Akasha waking up. Maybe she's like, my little boy Lestat is in trouble and I need to go save him.
Yeah, I do wonder that too. If
my
that's,
good boy. Who gave me blood when nobody else would.
Yes. He gave me a little blood lipstick. He threw a weird New Year's Eve party with with his imaginary trauma friends.
I ruined your party.
Oh, but the vampire's burden. I love this. What do you replace death with? Like, and what does that mean to replace death? Replace death as something to dread, something to keep you. I've heard a lot of people talk about death, the ticking, timeline of our lives being something that keeps us active in pursuing things we want. Because if we had forever, maybe we wouldn't. I don't know. I disagree. I think I would spend like a decade reading books, but then I would do shit like Lestat. He just wants to go record birdsong for a decade. That sounds great.
Yeah, I think if I had immortality, I'd have a chill decade once in a while. But it's good to go exploring. Especially the thing is the world's always changing, so there's always going to be something new to learn.
Exactly, and endless instruments and languages and.
I don't share people's dread of immortality.
No. I always really I read the play Faust in high school, and I think I was the only one. I was like, that sounds great.
Yeah, people are like, oh man, but you'd go crazy. I'm like,
I'm pretty sure.
I'd probably, I'd re-up. I'd re-up if I could.
Yeah. Pretty sure I could kill a lot of time. I don't know.
I mean, if I had to live in like a 90-year-old body forever.
Yeah, that'd be
and continue to, have things break like that. All right, maybe then I wouldn't enjoy it so much. But if I could be like 35 forever, yeah, I'd do it.
Yeah, for sure. I would even freeze myself now, even though I'm slightly older than 35. The head decapitation thing comes obviously intentionally at the most devastating moments when they're finally being fully honest at each other. Like, the songs are about me, most of them. You opened a restaurant 3 blocks from my house because, if it was just the two of us again, because who else is going to have us? And then they talk about like this trailer park and with evening primrose and the birds in the desert. And I'll say in the book, they do reconcile and kiss right before the concert. So except for the kiss, that is basically what we got here. And then Armand. You know what people are calling him online now? Kitten Daddy.
What? Kitty Daddy?
Kitten Daddy.
Kitten Daddy. Why Kitten Daddy?
Because they think he's like cat-like.
Why is he cat-like?
I mean, I think he's cat-like. I don't know. I can't describe it. Just love me, murder mode.
That's pretty funny. I like it. Yeah, I guess cats are like that. They're just too small to hurt us most of the time.
Now, I know that you don't like Armand, but do you understand why he would have done this? Yes,
I do. And I hate him. No, he's a well-written character. To be clear, I don't hate the character.
No, I know.
I don't hate the existence of the character. I hate the character. Which is a good villain is like this. I understand his motivations. I think he's well-written. And I fucking hate this guy.
I mean, yeah, the entire episode, everyone's like, it's going to lead to the apocalypse. And, Armand's all about the 5 laws, which I wrote, only Maître may break the 5 great laws in parentheses for Daniel. Because he did. He broke pretty much all of them to turn Daniel.
Yeah, recite them for us, please, because I don't remember half of them.
All right, I got to look it up. Like the 5th one is definitely don't tell mortals.
Yeah, that one for sure.
And then another one is don't turn anyone who's like infirm, basically. So, with Daniel's Parkinson's, that breaks that law.
Right.
No vampire may ever destroy another vampire, except that the Coven Master has the power of life and death over all his flock. So I don't think that Armand really wants to kill these 2, although they were technically, I suppose, part of his coven at some point. But I don't think he intended to kill them. That's one of the laws. Never should an old vampire work this magic. Okay, wait. Okay, starting with law 1. Each coven must have a leader, and only he may order the working of the dark trick upon a mortal. Fine. So Armand kind of went against that because he wasn't in a coven. He just turned Daniel on his own.
Right.
The dark gifts must never be given to the crippled, maimed, or children. Okay.
Politically incorrect, but yeah, I mean, I think that this is at least a borderline case, as Daniel has a degenerative disease.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like as we've been talking about the antibodies, it seems like it doesn't cure it after all. Never should an old vampire work this magic, lest the blood of the fledgling be too strong. So basically, old vampires shouldn't be the ones turning people, which obviously Armand broke that because he's pretty old. And then 4, you can't destroy them. 5, don't reveal your true nature.
Yeah. Well, he didn't commit it to writing.
He didn't publish his book yet.
4 out of 5. That's nothing.
Book 6 is called The Vampire Armand.
Is that the premise of the book? Is that Armand is coming out with a tell-all?
Well, so basically most of the series is like there's a group that ends up calling themselves the Articulate Coven, and they are the ones who published their memoirs. And this isn't really a spoiler, but later on there's actually a radio DJ who is sort of broadcasting their vampire stuff. But, after this concert and everything, it's kind of like all bets are off to a certain extent in terms of people not knowing about them.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So you have here, are they calling Akasha with this? And we kind of already talked about that. But yes, I do think that this is how Akasha is going to wake up.
But also there was the reference earlier where the voiceover said, Lestat, maybe Amel said that Armand did something worse than anything the Queen ever did. So is that this? What is the something worse that he did than the Queen ever did? I'm sure we'll find out next week, but... And then I love, so I just, this was just a random comment I saw on Reddit from someone named Silverstar 453. And they said, Lestat goes low and Armand goes to hell. Like, yes, revenge porn is bad, but if someone made fun of me being a child sex slave in front of 1,000 people, I might not be thinking straight. So a lot of people think the Big Boss song, there's a line about a rag doll. And a lot of people think that is poking fun at the fact that that Marius used to rent out child human Armand as a sex slave to his friends.
That's pretty dark.
Yes. See, you just don't know. He did tell us that in season 2, as I brought up last time, but people just don't understand Murder Pookie's story.
But I have to ignore anything that it could be at all justifying for Armand because I've decided he's the villain of my story.
Okay, fair.
All right.
But here's a question though. Okay, so obviously we know their heads are going to be reattached because they're the stars of the show, but also we see at least Louis later at that auction with his head attached, missing a foot, but head attached. So the question is, Fareed obviously brought up earlier this season to Daniel that vampires can stay alive, older, more powerful ones can stay alive for a while. Is Fareed involved in this? Is he going to be the one reattaching them next episode?
He's got to be involved. I don't know if willingly, but he's got to be involved in some way.
I mean, Lestat was so nice to him. Everybody likes Fareed. You can't do this, Fareed.
Maybe this is how he earns his dark gift.
I mean, I'm sure it sounds like interesting research to him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, he's never been able to see a vampire that powerful before. But the blood of Akasha.
Right. I don't know. Oh, I need the finale now.
All right. Well, we've got to get into the feedback. Let's get a few pieces of feedback here from the Discord. The TCS came in and said, and the TCS, by the way, is a lore master. More Emmy caliber performances today. Another great episode. And Red Zippy, of course, said, and Lisa, you've heard her on the Widow's Bay coverage. Can't breathe.
Can't breathe. Gasping face.
Yeah. Abby, you want to read Abby?
Abby says, so many feels, I'm awash in a flood of emotions. Still, this show, my gosh, on another level entirely. I have a very small request, joking, kind of. Please, Gremlin fans, hold your Pookie's excuses for a hot moment and let us rage and uninhabited for this hot moment. Sorry, Abby. First thought after that finale is, where's Dr. Fareed? Okay, yeah, I want him on site ASAP. Second thought, forget the sun. Gremlin and all his minions can F off into a supernova, or now we have a witch on location. She can do a seance and bring back a few Targ dragons for a thorough burninating of the aforementioned company. Crying emoji.
Love it. Yeah. No, I'm with you, Abby. Let's be enraged together. You have my permission. You feel free to tag me on the Discord and you can rage with me about Armand. I'll be an Armand hater till the day I die.
Murder Pookie's gonna murder.
Yeah, okay. That's just what he does. It's in the name. Yeah. Come on.
His mom shouldn't have called him that.
Teach your kids to ask before they pet the dog. Jesus Christ.
I mean, they've been so mean to him, and I think he likes it. Even Asad Zaman, the actor, says, like, he's like, oh, I think he gets a little bit aroused when Lestat makes fun of him,
Oh, yeah.
But he was definitely going to clap back to a unnecessary degree. And as I said, he's trying to prevent this concert, and I understand that perspective. I think the more messed up thing they did was releasing the sex tape.
Yes, that was awful. I mean, it's illegal in many states now for a reason. Like, don't non-consensually release sex tapes. Mm-hmm. Terrible thing to do. Yeah. Ugh. All right, everybody's a villain. Let's all go home. But first, make sure you stick around for the after the credits Inside the Coffin segment, where we'll talk about book spoilers and other connections. And, of course, our weekly check-in with the Devil's Minion Corner on our good friends Daniel and Armand together. So let's get into the Lorehounds feed, what's going on there. We've got House of the Dragon weekly coverage with David and John, now that David's back in town. And they're having a great time. They've now split into main and feedback episodes because they could not contain it all in one episode. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's great. May the Seven bless them in their efforts. And on the Wolfshift Dust feed, what have we got? Yeah. We've got Silo. You want to talk about your Silo coverage?
Yeah, so we are 2 episodes out on Silo, and I am loving the season. I did a crossover meme where there was a thing this week where there's a fangirl who wanted to meet Juliet, and then when the fangirl talked to Juliet was really harsh with her because she's Juliet. And so I took a picture of that interaction and combined it with Lestat from episode 2 saying, like, are you enjoying your exclusive fan experience?
Thomas Pitt.
Yeah. But no, I think Silo season 3 is off to a great start. It's based on the second book, Shift, which is the book with all the answers. So Yeah, answers in coming fast.
I'm excited. I really have to catch up because I am excited to see this season. This was, I think, my favorite of the 3 books.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got to get back into it.
Yeah. No, yeah, so they're like combining this and I suppose they saved the end of Wool for the start of the season, and then I think they're going to continue the Dust storyline because obviously they're not going to not have the Juliet storyline going at the same time.
Well, I've once been a guest on the Wool Shift Dust podcast, so now I have to live up to that commitment.
Twice. We did a crossover episode.
We did. You're right.
Oh, no, and there was a game show after the first season.
There was a game. 3 times?
Mm-hmm.
3 times, and I'm not caught up. I got to get off this friggin' podcast right now. Go watch this. No, I think I'm going to turn it on tonight because I'm not watching House of the Dragon. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I recommend it. Yeah, I liked. I thought episode 2 was a good setup, but I liked. I thought episode 1 was a good setup, but I liked episode 2 even more. It introduced one of my favorite characters from the books, and they've changed some things in the story, and I think they're doing a good job of like doing parallels about things like about the memory drug. That's a big theme of the start of the season.
Yeah.
So,
all right, well. Keep going to that. That's on a separate feed, everyone. The Wool Shift Dust feed, which is linked in the link tree in the show notes. As are our other affiliates like Radioactive Ramblings and Properly Howard Movie Review, which are both currently on sort of an off season. But we also have Nevermind the Music doing their weekly coverage of music and psychology. I'm going to be a guest next month. We're going to have a great time together. They've got an episode every single Tuesday. It's very impressive. And also we have new Dungeons and Do-Rags content. I don't know if you know this, but they've been doing reviews of House of the Dragon.
I've been listening to them. Yeah, actually, I'm in the middle of their most recent episode. It's a lot of fun. I had to pop into the Discord to be like, Ron is right. Only Targaryens can fly dragons, but the Valyrians do have Targaryen blood because they intermarry.
Yeah, the Valyrians. Yep. Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad that they're with the network now, and they've got their audio feed set up, so you should be able to catch that not just on YouTube where they usually are, but now there is a dedicated feed.
Yes.
All right. I think that's it for Cosmere Corner starting at the end of the month.
Oh yeah.
I said never mind the music.
You did
that whole thing. We did a whole thing, Elysia. No, I bet. I
brought up Cosmere Corner on Wool Shift Dust, and I got an excited response.
Oh, good.
That. Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me know. I'm excited to start it. We're about a month of recordings in, and then we're going forward from there. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be kind of like a book club experience.
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm obviously a big Wheel of Time fan, but I've never read any other Brandon Sanderson books, and people have been asking me for years why not, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. With you guys.
Never fear. There is a season preview where it's about a half hour. We talk about sort of what is the Cosmere. It gives you the primer and why we're starting with this series.
All right, and that's end of this month.
End of this month, July 31st. It's queued up on YouTube. It's posting.
All right.
We're ready to go. All right. Let's do our quick thank yous. You want to do the first 2 and I'll do the Lore Masters?
Sure. Thank you to our community volunteers, the Dunedain. Huh?
You got it. We're doing it.
Hand of the Pod, Nancy, aka 2 Kids, 2 Dogs. Captain of the Pole Hero, Peter O.H., Keeper of the Show Tracker, Sub-Zero, Librarian, Brian8063, and moderators Brian8063 and Aaron K. Thank you to all of our listeners. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. If you enjoy this, please tell other people who are into this show about our coverage as well, or leave a nice rating or review wherever you're listening. These things help enormously. Thank you also, especially, of course, to our subscribers and our Discord server boosters, Aaron K., Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena, Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M., Ghost of Partition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian.
And to our Lore Masters or top tier Patreon subscribers, they are keeping this operation running. Starting off with our first ever Lore Master who's still here. Just shout out to Samartian. Special shout out to Samartian for being here since the beginning. And to everyone else, Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter OH, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Garrett C, Andra B, Kwang Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dally V, Gnarls, Kathy W, Listu, Jeffrey B, Elisa U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Kali S, Ilmariel, Rocky Zim, Jessica A, Red Zippy, the TCS, Dopamini, Ellen R, Mrs. Tennant, AC Wilson, Eli W, Cassie K, Chumbaruni, Katia, Josh Lou, Painted PDX, Corey G, Quinch, Jenny L, Slavinator, and Adrian. Thanks, everybody. It's been fun.
you.
Stick around after the credits for Inside the Coffin and Devil's. The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening. Are we ready to go inside the coffin?
All right, let's check inside the coffin and see what we find. Oh, a reference to Lestat becoming a dark monarch. People may be aware that, what is it, the 10th book in the series is called Prince Lestat?
Yeah, something like that.
This
is more than that, actually, I think.
Well, it depends if you count the side vampire books.
Okay.
But so this is again something like a reference that's coming forward, but they're not obviously not going to do like 13 seasons or whatever. So it makes sense. But I'll just say the blog post I mentioned that Corey did, he talks a bit about Gabriella being a stage mom, kind of pushing Lestat toward this, and that definitely comes from. She's definitely encouraging him to take responsibility and leadership of the vampire community, as we see her doing here now.
Yeah, it does seem so.
Yeah. Although I wonder, Lestat also, once he becomes prince, he moves back to Auvergne. And I wonder if that's what the suggestion is with him talking about the forests in this episode.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. He deserves a little vacation, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like he moves back there with like Louis and like, I don't know, the growing group of vampires that they kind of have their own, they said the coven of the articulate or whatever, they settle in various places, and that's one of their hangouts. I do wonder about this head reattachment thing. I brought up the Dr. Farid thing, and I do think that makes the most sense based on, the events of this season. But I'll say there is a storyline in the book that involves Marius reattaching a vampire's head. So I wouldn't be totally shocked if Marius showed up next week in that regard. But I don't think we're going to see more of Marius this season, probably. I don't know.
And Marius has beef with Lestat anyway. I don't think he's interested in reattaching Lestat's head.
Yeah, but he also had beef with the vampires whose head he reattached in the book.
Oh, okay.
Or no, it wasn't his head. He actually liked the one whose head he was reattaching. He had beef with the other vampire who brought him back. Was like, I don't fix this,
No. Wait, who was the other vampire? We're in spoiler section.
No, yeah. So they're minor characters in Marius's backstory.
Oh, okay.
This is like centuries ago. So I don't even know that they'll show up on the show. But I hope we get far enough that we get Marius's backstory, because there's like this whole thing where like druids are keeping this vampire in a tree. And anyway, this whole thing. I would kind of love to see that. Like, people are like, I hope they don't get to the weird later book stuff, by which they mean like the alien stuff after that. I'm like, honestly, I would love for them to start talking about Atlantis and Laura Castrian and all that stuff. I think with these writers, I would love to see how they handled all of that when the story really flies off the handle.
They do seem to be able to use absurdity in a compelling way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do wonder, so I hinted at this above, but earlier when we talked about this whole Memnoch the Devil, the fact they're doing it as a spin-off rather than part of the main series. It is sort of Memnoch the Devil. It's the 5th book, and it's a side story for Lestat, where Memnoch the Devil basically ends up taking, like, it's like, you have to understand my story, and ends up taking Lestat on a tour of heaven and hell.
So to be clear, this is the big D devil. This is like actual Satan.
Yeah, pretty much. But then, of course, later on, it's it's more complicated than that slightly.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and this is where I also mentioned previously he witnesses the crucifixion and drinks from Jesus.
Just casually.
Just casually. So if they're doing this as a spin-off, I do not think it will star Lestat. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just starring Memnoch. But then one thing that really like perked my ears in this episode is just the part of this. It's sort of a side part of this story where Lestat, he's keeping an eye out for Nikki as he's taking this tour because he just wants to know that Nikki's okay in death, basically. And he can't find him in heaven or hell. So part of me is like, well, what if they took Claudia and put her in the spinoff looking for Madeline with Memnoch?
I'd watch that. I'd watch that for sure.
Yeah, I'd be really into that.
Because I think her role in Louis and Lestat's story is kind of done.
Yeah. Although, okay, so I wonder there's a theory that was going around that I didn't want to mention because we had specific instructions not to mention that Merrick was going to show up. But now that she has, I can say this, that there's a theory that's been going around about that Merrick in the book, the Merrick book, she basically enchants Louis and David, that character Talbot, who was killed off screen. And basically because she wants to be a vampire. And then this whole seance becomes part of it and all this stuff. So she enchants them, basically. She enchants Louis. So a part of me and a lot of people have been wondering, like, could Fraudia be a Merrick enchantment of some sort? And one thing, an image that's gone around that actually was shared on one of our Discord chats shows that Merrick has in her left ear the same piercings as Fraudia did.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, all right. I'm into it. You've sold me.
So we'll see if that doesn't happen. If we don't get that reveal next week, then it must not be so. But
yeah, I don't know. They could leave something cooking for a while. Who knows?
Yeah. Now, as far as Devil's Minion Corner, I think it's about time to retire it as a spoiler thing because it's pretty much all out in the open now.
Yes, it is.
I don't think there's much more to glean secret wise from the book. Probably, as I said, season 4 will delve more into those in between years. But I do think, you brought up Daniel's death. Eric Bogosian and Roland Jones in one of the After Dark episodes said that they agreed that Eric Bogosian could have a horrible death, as was teased by Baby Jenks. But then implied they still needed to write it. So this would be part of the whole body switching thing would be part of Tale of the Body Thief, which is implied as maybe the basis of season 5. So I don't think he's going to die this season.
Yeah, no. All right. I think I'm with you. Let's do 2 more seasons of Daniel.
And I predict, and Daniel still exists after that. He's just in a different body. And I predict that the different body he would go into is real Rashid.
Okay, I could see it. I'm in it with you.
All right. Well, that's basically, those are my spoilery thoughts. I don't know if you have any.
I haven't read anything past where we're at, so no, I do not. I wish I did. I think by next year I'll have read a few more of these books because I was enjoying it. I did not love the Vampire Lestat book after watching the show because the show is, I think, a lot better, but it was still enjoyable.
Well, I think it's a nice compliment because a lot of people are like, oh, we're not getting enough of the flashback stuff, which is actually the majority of the book. But then I'm like, well, yeah, so you have the book. You can have like the extended version of the flashbacks there. And then I'm glad to have this modern timeline story.
Yeah, all right. That's fair. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I will say the show is where my heart is, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Elysia, let's get out of here. It's time to let Claudia rest in peace. or whatever she's resting in. Maybe it's not peace.
Yes, I will be searching heaven and hell for Madeline because I miss her too on my screen.
She was fine. All right. Goodbye,
I
everybody.
liked her.